this video, I'm going to be taking a look at villages and talking a little bit about Unity and Fungus integration. You can see I have my entire editor pulled up right now, so you can actually get a glimpse into some of the Fungus and Unity integration that I have. If you're familiar at all with visual programming or finite state machines, then you'll probably recognize the general look and feel of a lot of this. You'll see there's a variety of nodes down here, and these are all driving what's happening in this particular flowchart, is what it's called in Fungus. And within each of these nodes, there are a variety of commands, which you can see over here on the right-hand side. And on the left, I can actually track any variables that I have in this particular flowchart. So as certain things happen, it will move around between some of these other commands. And then depending on what I'm doing, you can see there can actually be a very large number of commands that are firing off within that one single node. So let's go ahead and see how that actually looks in the village. So the way villages are set up right now is, again, this is just using a very rudimentary menu system right now. It'll be much more sprite-driven and animation-driven in the final game. And again, still using that Darkest Dungeon placeholder art, but it does help me with kind of keeping that visual look and feel to everything. So you have 2 action points that you're allowed to use when you're in a village, and if you need to track your resources, you can still open up that resource command, see all of the resources that you have available to yourself. And when I select a resource, it gives me a description of that, and then also has my advisor give me the specifics of it. So they'll tell me that I have 50 gold in my treasury, and they'll also give you sort of tips at this point as well, depending on what resources you have. And again, I can track things like my morale, the number of followers I have, any captives, the faith of the people, grain, livestock, my reputation. There's a wide variety of various resources that the game is going to be tracking. So I can choose to rest the people, which will use up more resources, but will help with the morale. I can raid the camp, which is a great way to get a lot more resources, but does negatively impact my reputation, obviously, with a lot of the other places. I can trade directly with them, try to recruit followers from this village, or try to, win over favor with them by giving them gifts. So in this particular video, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a deeper dive on the market. And you'll also notice as I'm making these selections, you can see that it's firing off the commands over on the right-hand side. So if you're curious about what's changing within Fungus, it's driving this entire UI right now. So you'll notice that these commands will change as I'm jumping around between some of the blocks here. So once you go to the market, there's a variety of stalls you'll be able to go to. And again, this is just currently displayed as buttons. So you can trade in grain, which is going to be your primary food source, livestock, which is a very valuable resource, which can be converted into food, can be used for sacrifices, can be used for trading. There's a lot of great uses you can have with livestock. And you can also take a look at captives. So this is where if you needed to hire warriors or maybe sell off any captives that you have, this is the place where you'd be able to go and do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. So when I select this, it says the shopkeeper gives me a courteous nod as I approach his stall. Welcome, perhaps we can make a deal. So this is a pretty neutral response, and this is actually, you can see there's some pretty large if statements happening over here. It's actually checking what my reputation is, and then based on the reputation that I have, it's dictating how the shopkeeper is responding to me. So this is a fairly neutral response. If he doesn't like me, he may not want to deal with me. He may tell me to leave the market. They may not even let me trade with them. But if my reputation is good, he'll give me better prices. He can sell me even more stuff. So this is sort of a quick check that it's doing to see, what my reputation is. Again, bear in mind, these are very simple rudimentary menus right now, but again, I can just see, am I hiring warriors or selling thralls? And if I hover over this tooltip here, it actually tells me specifically that my reputation does directly impact the prices that I'm getting. If I need to check my resources again, I can. And then I can choose to hire, in this case, up to 20 warriors at 8 gold per warrior, or I can try to sell any thralls that I may have captured. And in this case, I only have 5, so it's going to max that out for me. And I can't buy and sell things at the same time. So if I try to make a deal right now, he's going to tell me that he can't do that. Are you buying or selling? He asks. Make up your mind. So let's say I want to buy these 20 warriors for 8 gold per warrior. So he will bring up a little confirmation here, and then it'll ask me, do I want to hire 20 warriors for 160 gold? Now, as you saw in my resource menu earlier, I only have 50 gold. So when I try to move forward there, he eyes me warily and says, you don't have enough gold for this. Do not toy with me. So right now this doesn't do anything else other than just sort of reset that menu, but I could actually have the game track other things, like perhaps, maybe he has a negative response to that and that hurts your reputation. So there's other ways that I can do that, but again, right now I'm not really tracking that. So let's say I want to just sell off the captives that I have. So I'll just go ahead and sell all of my captives. It seems we can make a deal, the shopkeeper says. And again, just gives me that confirmation. Do I want to sell those 5 captives for 20 gold? So I confirm, and he says, I agree to buy these captives. They will make good workmen and women for our village. He gives you 20 gold, and you now have 70 gold in your treasury. So it takes me back to the main menu, and you can see these notifications popping up. I've sold those 5 captives, and I've made 20 gold. And again, if I go into my resources now, select my gold, it is tracking all this. So you can see I now have 70 gold in there, and I no longer have any captives. And again, I've tried to set up the resources menu, so it's giving you a description of what that resource is, but also trying to give you tips, as you can see there when I select the captives, that she's telling me that we don't have any thralls and we should consider trying to capture some. So it's really trying to keep that narrative approach where it's not just a general, resource menu. Your advisor is actually going to be trying to give you advice based on the number of resources that you have. And you can see, again, once it takes me back, that I'm down to that 1 action point left. So hopefully this was an interesting video to kind of give you a glimpse behind the scenes of sort of how some of the functionality works, how Fungus works. If you'd like to have me do a little bit of a deeper dive to talk a little bit about the way some of these functions work, I'd be happy to do another video on that. I'll be doing more videos in the coming future as we talk a little bit about raiding and recruiting followers and some of those other things as I'm digging in a little bit deeper on that. As you can see, I've got a lot of the placeholder stuff in here, so these do function, but a lot of these still need to get fleshed out a little bit more. So if you're enjoying following, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate the support. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.